Hello, I am Callie Woodard, and today I'm going to be answering 1, 2, 3, 4, and 9 from the final exam question list. So number 1 is, why does Sadie think Henrietta hesitated before seeing a doctor? I feel like Henrietta hesitated because she thought the doctor would remove her womb, which in this case would mean that she can't have any more children, and Henrietta wanted to have more children and she wanted to raise children, so she was just scared. So I feel like that's why she hesitated when going to the doctor. So then the second question is, Skloot uses vivid imagery and details to describe Henrietta's childhood in Clover. Locate a passage that you found particularly effective or memorable and explain why you selected it. So on page 20, about the third paragraph, the author explains that after the children got done working in the field with the tobacco, they would go to a swimming hole that they created from the creek, and they would swim, and they would throw rocks, stuff that kids do when they're bored. But I thought it was crazy how they had the energy to continue playing after they had worked a full day in the field. And then it also goes on to talk about how at night they would create fires or all go into one of the other cousin's house and all sleep together that night and wake up and eat breakfast the next morning. And I just thought that was super special because growing up, I wasn't close to any of my cousins, especially like my first and second cousins, because we all lived in different areas. But these people lived all in the same street, town, Lax town, and they just had a special bond. And I feel like today people are too busy or they don't live next to each other. So I feel like children really don't get to understand the the impact that cousins can have on you and just the relationships that you can have with them. So it just was really memorable for that, because like Henrietta also was playing with Day and didn't know that would be the one she ended up having children with when she grew up. So it's super special. Like, I feel like kids miss out on that today. So I thought that was super memorable. So the next question is, compare the medical terms describing Elise's condition with the terms used by Henrietta's friends and family. What are the connotations of the two sets of terms? So medical terms, Elise's condition is referred to as epilepsy, mental retardation, and psychoneurosis. Henrietta's friends and family just thought it was that she was spirited and she was touched or she was simple. And I feel like they only thought this because they didn't know, they genuinely did not know what was wrong with her. They all didn't go to high school or even get close to college. They all dropped out of school early to continue work. So I feel like them not being educated really stunted them being able to understand what was wrong with Elise. And they couldn't take care of her because they didn't understand what was wrong. So how did the doctors justify using patients in public hospital wards as medical research subjects without obtaining their consent or offering them financial compensation? Do you agree or disagree with the reasoning? So I feel like the doctors believed that since the patients were receiving free treatment, that it was okay for them to use them as research projects, almost as a form of payment. I don't agree with it for some reasons. I don't agree because I know that they probably knew that Henrietta did not have the education to read the consent form when she first went into surgery and everything. So I feel like they could have sat her down and be like, hey, this is what could happen, explain it to her, not just give her some papers that she can barely read and make her sign them. I just feel like there was a lot of things that could have bettered her understanding on what was going on, because then she would go home and she didn't know what to tell anybody because she had no idea what they had done. And then I also feel that way with her treatments, that they could have explained more of this is going to have the side effects and everything. They just didn't really tell her what was going to go on. But I also agree with it at the same time because it helped out with us so much in the future. It helped with other researchers with other diseases, cures, ways to just figure out the human life and how everything works with cells and gene mutation and everything. So I'm kind of on the fence. I don't know if I agree or I disagree and I agree, but for completely different reasons. So the last question is, what was Henrietta's final request? What does this request tell you about her? So her last request was for Gladys to tell Day to take care of the children, especially Deborah. She said this because Deborah was only 8 years old, and she just wanted to make sure that all of her kids were cared for because she wasn't going to be able to care for them anymore. She was literally on her deathbed begging someone to make sure that her kids were going to be okay without her. So I feel like this just shows that she was so very genuinely in love with her children. She cared so much. She was a true mother figure for those kids. And I just feel like that shows that she was a good person and that she loved doing what she did, which was being a mother.